Better. Hello. Please, we can do it better for Ima. He's doing a yeoman's work. Thank you so much, Ima. So at this point, we are getting into a panel discussion. We are done with the plenary. So at this point, we want to ask questions. You could tell that when Prof finished, we did not ask questions. This will be the opportune moment for us to ask all the questions on your mind, depending on what he spoke about. But we're going to have a panel discussion, a conversation, a very frank one. We are here to look at the impact of social media on the morality of our youth, including myself. So I'm going to invite my able panelists to join me here on the dais, on the platform. Then we can commence the conversation. So please just pay attention, give me all yes as we get into this frank conversation discussion to really unravel the deeper insight when it comes to social media and its impact. And as you can tell, we've been told by Prof. Emeritus and Mawuli that indeed social media has come to stay with us and is playing a very crucial role in our lives. Whether we like it or not, it has come to stay. And I believe that it's not going anytime soon from where I sit. So at this point, I want to invite on the days our good old Professor Emeritus to join me here. So Prof, please join me on the stage. Take the first seat for me on my left-hand side. Oh, please, we can do better for Prof. We can do better for Prof. We can do better for Prof. And to have our own mommy and daddy also join us. Mommy and daddy will join us. They will have the double couch. Mommy and daddy will join us. So please let's have mommy and daddy, Reverend Samuel Japan and Mama Florence in Japan. Oh, please let's clap for them as they come to take their seat. We have to have Mauli, please check. Okay, good. Please let's have Mauli to join us. One of the prolific actors, social media influencers. We do watch him on the screens most often in Nigerian movies and Ghana movies. Okay. You are welcome, my able panelists. Prof. Emeritus, and please, we need mics. We need mics here. Prof has one. We need one for Mommy as well. So please, let's get the other mics. Okay, so our audience, at this point, we want to engage our able panelists. We are blessed to have a mixture of the generation. So we are Prof. Emeritus generation, Mommy and Daddy generation, and the Mauli generation, which I believe the youngsters here will relate easily with Mauli. Oh, Mauli said it's Prof's generation as well. Let's clap for Mauli. I'm told it is just a number. It's in your mind. So yes, I agree. Mauli. Okay, so before this program, we've been on air for some interviews. And as part of the interview, there was a research that I did that tend to reason that social media is really playing a crucial role in our lives. And if we look at the social media account users, it's increasing by the second, by the minute, by the hour, by the day, by the year. And I got to know that out of the 8 billion people we have, 5 billion are already on social media, which represents about 63.5% or so. So approximately 63% of the world's population are on social media. So more than half of the 8 billion people we have in the world are on social media. And I also got to understand that out of these people, 80% of the 5 billion comprise the youth. 80% of this 5 billion comprise the youth. Another interesting data that I saw was the fact that in terms of the activity on social media, in terms of its usage, 93% of the people using social media are very active. And averagely, we are spending not less than averagely 2 hours and 31 minutes, averaging every day on social media. So within the 24 hours, which already we sleep 1/3 off, then 8 hours for work or for business, the 8 hour you have preparing for work in traffic. So technically, we have just about 4 to 5 hours to ourselves, and social media is taking half of that time. I'm sure if you are a parent, if you are a nursing mother, I mean, it will even go further because you have to help your kids do their homework and so forth. So even the time will decrease when you are even a nursing mother or you are even a parent. So indeed, the social media penetration is very real. And lastly, I got to know that year-on-year comparison, as of January last year and this year January, we've added 8% already to this database. So averaging, we've added about 320 million users already as of January 2024. And I'm sure by February it has grown because by the research, every second we add 8 new members to social media. Every second we are adding 8 new members. So this is a research to show that indeed, whether we like it or not, it is with us that's come to stay. And we must find ways and means to navigate through this whole necessary evil. That's how I call necessary evil of double-edged sword called social media. Bro, I want to start with you. Looking at the penetration of social media, what role must parents play? Because being an educationist, you work with parents, over the years. I want to know what role can we play as parents when it comes to helping our world, our children to navigate this necessary evil called social media. What role can we play as parents specifically?
Well, it's a long time I was a parent, but I'm watching the young parents which I deal with, literally hundreds of them. The more serious ones limit the child, and they have agreed with their children what child. I was telling you that my youngest son, for example, doesn't allow and she's an IT guru, to touch the iPad until 5 o'clock. And between 5 and 7, them and then, of course. So the first thing is, I will advise that you don't excuse your children completely. They must have access, but limit the time. Soon they will be used to. Number 2, as much as possible, especially the younger ones, parents must make time go to social media with them. The younger ones, while they read the teenagers, they are becoming too late. But that will help them to get a proper acquaintance on the social media. And in our school, for example, every student has a laptop, a Chromebook, but also some sites are completely broken. They cannot go into that site. So but that still gives them sufficient limit. So there's a need for discipline on the part of the parents. And then also you have to dialogue with the children. You can't force them. The more you talk to them and give them the reason, and they know that you are not stopping them completely. But above all, at the end of the day, you must give them the education and equipment to be able to discriminate when they go to the next without you. Because at the end of the day, you cannot keep watch over them all the time. After all, if they don't do it at the house, they will do it with their friends when they are outside them. So the moral training and convincing them of what is good and what's not good for them, so that they become their own police men and women, will be okay and advice.
Thank you, Prof. And what Prof is saying is that as parents, we must be involving when it comes to our kids and the use of social media. The Prof says something before ending that we must train our kids. The Bible says that train up a child the way he should go through the way he or she grows old. He will not depart from what you are teaching him. So that's great, Prof. We must be involved. We must be intentional as parents. Don't leave them on their own on social media. Get to know what they are doing. Mommy, working with parents over the years, 35 years of Alpha Beta and still counting. What can you say that parents must do specifically to ensure that we safeguard our children whilst they are in that space? As Prof said, we can't stop them. We can't stop them. But we should guide them. So, mommy, how can we navigate as parents to to ensure that some parents are here, they are listening.
What we have realized is that even the parents themselves need to be made aware of the dangers of social media. Now, what we have found from a very early age, number one, from a very early age, you need to train your children. You need to monitor them, as Prof said. Don't give them too much time on the gadgets, because you have bought the gadgets for them, so you have every good reason to know where they are going in cyberspace and whether they're going to harmful places. Now, the problem we're also finding is that we have children coming to nursery who have had the gadget on their lap from the time the car left the house to when it came to school. And this happens every morning. And so when mom gets out of the car, or dad gets out of the car, takes the child to the classroom, then tries to take the phone off the child, all hell breaks loose. Now, we need to create awareness. I think there is a WhatsApp that's going around showing the negative effects of the media on the child, or of the social media on the child. But the thing is, gone are the days mom and dad were in the house to talk with their kids, to even eat with their kids. Like you said, we don't eat together anymore. And so the problem now is there's not that communication between parents and their children that we used to have before all these fun, wonderful gadgets and things came in. And another problem is we need to get hold of the parents before it's too late, because what has happened now is parents themselves are addicted to social media, right? It's the best thing in the world for a parent to get home tired, just want to keep their shoes off, relax, and guess what? They are on their social media. They don't want to be disturbed by the children. So here, have this, let me, which cartoon? Okay, let's go here. So they have used the gadgets as a babysitting device, which doesn't even enable them to talk with their children, because they don't want to talk with them at that moment. They want to be on their own gadget. So we have a lot of work to do to get this thing right. And I think the more we bombard the parents with the dangers, the better it will be. We can just keep talking about it until the penny drops. Because we had a Zoom meeting where we were going to talk about, we talked about these things, and the attendance was so low. So low. It's as if it's not important for them to be at such a meeting. So look, we have to persevere with our parents. Otherwise, some of our children are going to get lost in cyberspace with the wrong values, and in the wrong things, which will change their lives. So we have to work on the parents more. A lot don't know what is happening in cyberspace.
Thank you, Mommy. And there's a saying that lack of knowledge my people perish. So we, the parents, also must be aware of this necessary evil, this double-edged thing called social media. So, of course, if you don't know, you can't restrict, you can't guide your kids on how to use social media. So I agree, Mommy. We, the parents, also must be aware, we must know. And I'm sorry that you called for a meeting and the parents were not interested. But if you don't know, you can't, because there are lots. I know most of our children even know more than we know on social media. They know how to navigate their way through to get to sites that you don't have any knowledge of. So yes, parents, let's appreciate knowledge, let's be aware, let's avail ourselves to learn on social media ourselves and be able to know how to correct and to guide our children on that particular platform called social media. Okay, so I want to jump to Maoli. Maoli, this question, I know you attempted to address it when you engaged in the fire chat session, but I want you to advise us, the youth, who are on social media, how do we maintain integrity and authenticity online? Because there are a lot of, as you mentioned, not all the lifestyles we see on social media are real. Not all the lives are true. Not all the lives are the case. I mean, look, 10% are true, 90%, it's not the case. So, if we want to be out on social media, What should we do so that we are not caught up in this whole craze of trying to compare ourselves to be like somebody, someone, trying to be the lifestyle? That is, and Prof said that we are all unique in our own way. So, Mauli, how do we maintain integrity and authenticity as the youth?
The integrity part, I don't think anybody can help you with. Like we keep saying, or Prof said, it's self-discipline and what you decide to do for yourself. So we will come to these talks and we will encourage and we'll say this is what you're supposed to do. But each of us are going to have to decide at what levels we would hold ourselves to, or what morality levels that we would hold ourselves to. I would encourage everybody to do it as high as you can, but that's a personal decision for everybody. Authenticity, for that, the only thing that you can do is live your life on your terms in a way that is comfortable for you. I say that because there's a lot of different personalities on social media. There's people who love to post every day. There's people who love to post on their stories. Every time something happens, they will post and say, hey, this funny thing happened, or I just ate this. There's some of you who will take a photo before every meal. Before when the thing comes at the restaurant, you have to photo it and everything. There's some people who want to do that. I consider that a bit too much, but it's not really up to me to decide. But I think the point is to live an authentic life. You don't have to post what isn't necessarily authentic to you, because a lot of us believe in the fake it until you make it model, which is one way to go. But you see a lot of people, the person that be posing in front of an amazing car, posing in front of an amazing house, posing with the best phone or whatever, like we keep saying, there's no way to tell what is real and what is not real. So for you personally, live your authentic life and know that you're doing your best, but understand that everything else that you see online might not necessarily be real. So with regards to looking at it and saying, I wish I wanted that, ask whether the person owns the car, it's a fake car, it's an AI car. There's no way to know. So live your most authentic life. Understand that not everybody is going to be doing that. So as long as you're living a life that is true to yourself, if you post yourself in whatever circumstance, whatever outfit, whether it's fashionable or not, if it's you and you're comfortable with it, do it, and don't let people stress you out. Life is too short.
Thank you, Mother. Don't let people stress you out. People are already stressed on social media. They are depressed because they will compare themselves with their friends. They finish school with their colleagues, and they're like, and how is life treating them? And they begin to copy. They begin to put pressure on them. Please, as Mauli is saying, don't let anybody pressure you on social media. And he said, it's all about choices. Whichever choice you make, you will face the consequence thereof. As for the consequence, once you make the choice, it has that corresponding, whether good or bad. So the choice is yours. So be careful as to what you do out there. Reverend, now we want to find out, how can we create a positive digital footprint while navigating social media? How can we create a positive digital footprint while navigating social media? Because as you already said, whatever you do in this space stays with you forever. Once you click submit, send, it's out there in the space. You cannot erase it. Your kids will come, look at it. So, Rev, how do we ensure that we are creating a positive digital footprint while navigating through social media?
Okay. Now, once again, it comes to discipline. It's all about the discipline. What are your motives for posting things? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to achieve? Certain story. Want the whole world to know about what you are doing, and what you are doing, is it real? Is it made up? Your motives are very important when it comes to things that you actually post on social media, and it is your integrity at stake. Is what you are doing authentic? So motives are very important when it comes to doing it. So in order to create what a positive
digital footprint.
Yeah, a positive digital footprint, it's all down to discipline. If you are indisciplined, you post everything and like you keep saying, what will happen with that? As for God, He will forgive you, but
As for the consequence,
you will pay. You will pay. You will have the consequences. You live with it. If you are promiscuous and you end up pregnant, the baby will live with you for the rest of your life. So, discipline is so important so that you can maintain that positive footprint.
thank you, Rev. I think that is true. Check your motives with discipline as to what you post out there. So anytime you pick your phone, you pick your laptop, you want to post something, ask yourself, what is the motive? Ask yourself, I mean, will this leave a positive footprint for me after posting this? I'm sure once you answer some of these questions and you interrogate your thinking and your thought, I'm sure you'll be guided as to what you are posting on the blog. The last question, then the floor is open. So please, we need 2 mics, one on my left, one on my right. Once we are done, my panelists are ready to take every question you have on your mind. Every question you have on your mind. Prof. So, if assuming I'm already caught up with the social media channels already, so at the moment, yes, I'm going through the negative impact of social media. Are there any support systems? What are the tools available I can deploy for me to get out of this negative impact of social media? So yes, I'm currently in now. Yes, I'm already caught up in that web, that negative social media. What resource or support systems are available for some of us already facing these social media challenges? Are there any?
Well, I'll give some suggestions. I don't think that I am fully on top of it. So when we finish,
Yes, Mauli can speak.
our lecture will come in. But first of all, one of the things that social media is doing to many young people is that they have stopped talking to their traditional mentors and advisors. And on some of the social media, they will try to bully you not to talk even to somebody. I think that every young person must have a trusted older, not the older in terms of gray hair, but much more experienced and educated, whom they have as their friend. It doesn't have to be necessarily your immediate family. I have the advantage that my children are my friends, and even my grandchildren will send me, "Oh, Dad, Grandpa, what do you think?" But that is not normal. But you must have a significant personality in your life. A teacher, a pastor, a Sunday school teacher. It always helps. Interestingly, if you are very careful online, there are also sites which allow you to get good counsel anonymously. And those ones, I mentioned a couple on my slides. But if you get those who are experienced, they can tell you can get good counsel even on social media. But for me, at the end of the day, and what Maui said, very, very important. If young people knew that everything they put on social media is permanent and it will be used for them or against them, most of them will be very careful. The good news is that also, no matter what you have done now, if you stop, you know that it's not good and you stop, your footprint will change. Because there's always a timeline attached to what you have done. And for goodness sake, someone is not going to say that because when you were 12 years old or 16-year-old, this is what you did. And despite everything you have done for the rest of your life, then none of us should be sitting here at all. And I think that as God forgives us, as we have to live with our consequences, we can also make a definite change. Let me give you a positive one. I didn't manage my finances too well until I was 46 years. Not, of course, not losing with it. But as a Christian, I was not saving. I was using all my money, helping people and others. But that is not the wise thing. When you have your children and you don't have a saving, if any of your children gets a serious illness, what do you do? At 46, I read the book and I said, no, I'm going to make a change. And I started my 10-10-80 principle in my books and then advanced. And by God's grace, within a short time, I had overcome it. And by God's grace, became a millionaire. You can change.
Prof, before Mauli comes in about the millionaire thing.
We are launching the Millionaires Club. You heard it.
Yes, I heard it.
This next month on the 4th of April, because I want the average young person to become a millionaire within 20 to 30 years. It shouldn't be a preserve of those who steal money, who are corrupt, because you can make it.
Prof, for this club, please give us the invitation. We'll be there, my team, my outreach. We want to be part of this club. We want to make a millionaire. Wow, so Prof, you can see all of us here are default members of the Millionaires Club.
Immediately we'll put it on after launch. It will be online, but you can have your Millionaires Club here. If you invite, you will come. And Millionaires Club doesn't mean you are going to join a club. It's a certain way of behaving and organizing your life. So it's not a club you are coming to join and then Stephen is going and you are following him. For example, just on this morning, I decided I have 61 members already from my school staff, and I'm going to make all of them, 311 of them, to join on August. And you know what I'm going to do? Instead of giving them the big salary increase, which we are going to do, I'm going to take 300 Ghana cedis as the school's contribution to their Millionaires Club. So that's what they need to become millionaires in 25. Wow. So that they will be compulsory members.
And compulsory millionaires as well.
Yes. Compulsory.
Oh, let's clap for Prof. Let's clap for Prof for what he's doing to impart our generation. So Mauli, the same question. Are there any support systems? For some of us now we are already caught up in this negative impact of social media. Let me get to share.
Okay, so maybe I don't think my answer was very contrarian, but I personally don't think we should be using less social media. We should actually be using more. Now, I need everybody to listen to me very carefully on this. You should 100,000% be using more social media. The only problem here is we limit ourselves to the types of social media that have very either little benefit or you use it in ways that won't actually benefit you. Now, I say this because and now I'm also interested in being a professor's millionaire club.
I thought you were already.
Very soon, very soon. But the genuine truth is I make maybe 70 to 80% of my income from social media. And that is about, I'll give you context, that is about 100 times what I made when I was an accountant. And I do that from posting an Instagram video or a thing. That's 100 times what I made when I was an accountant. But the point I'm making is you don't get that by liking photos of fast cars and of beautiful women. That's not the point that I'm making. The point I'm making is you do realize that everything that you do online allows you to communicate with people who, before now, we wouldn't have been able to do that. Before now, having access to experts from Russia or from Pakistan or from Afghanistan, we wouldn't have had that. Those of you who say you want to be dancers, you want to be artists, you want to be all these different things, you should be finding communities that would help you do that. You find communities that will push your personal talents forward. And in that way, you find ways to leverage yourself upwards. Because the problem that we're facing as a generation, both the millennials and the Gen Zs, is that the current climate that has been left for us economically makes it not feasible to use the model that was used in the past. Unfortunately, no matter how much we do things, by the simple rates of inflation, we will never ever be able to catch up. When you are a particular age and you work as a civil servant, you're able to buy a house and a car and take care of your family. It is impossible to do that with the current climate and the way it is, which means that young people have no choice but to find ways to leverage the things that are available to them and then also work hard in the ways that were already. So the point I'm making is we have to use everything that has already been laid out, every single thing that Professor can give to us. And we have to leverage the other things that are available to us. Now, when I said more social media, please understand what I'm saying. Sites like LinkedIn, finding communities like Pinterest and Canva, places where people network, places where people look for jobs. these are the things that you should always go online and say, how do I find a community of artists and see what they're doing? Somebody said they wanted to be a dancer. How do I find a community of dancers or computer specialists or this and that? Find those people online. And then if you want to spend your time communicating with computer programmers in Korea, then that's absolutely fine. If you told your parent that, hey, they come to you and you're on your phone and they say, what are you doing? You say, hey, I'm figuring out this code because I met this programmer in India and me and him are trying to figure out something. That is an absolute great use of your time. So the idea is not to just run away from it, because we are saying that, yes, don't waste your time looking at fast cars and beautiful women. It will pleasure you for a few seconds, but long term, it's not going to do too much for you. But I am saying, use the time to create brands that will last forever. You mentioned you have a daughter who is doing some things in fact, and you mentioned the website name. The reality is, without you being able to say, go to Canva,
Cadwell Inc.
look at that, go to Cadwell Inc. We wouldn't have been able to. As soon as you said it, I picked up my phone and I went on the site. And that site in itself is a snapshot of who she is. It's how she's able to portray herself with just her father being thousands of miles away, mentioning that website. She's able to sell herself to an audience that wouldn't have been able to reach her. Those of you who are dancers, who are electricians, who are whatever it is, if you must use it in a way that benefits you and that takes you forward. So if you're going to be on social media, that's fine. Say that we will set 1 hour. Like Professor said, 1 hour is more than enough to be on social media for the day. Well, our phones they allow us to set screen time. They allow us to set limits on what we use our phone for. Set a 1 hour limit. It is more than enough time for social media. But during that 1 hour, rather than looking at all the funny videos, you can spend a couple minutes looking at funny videos. I'm not saying don't entertain yourself. What I am saying is, if you are going to use your time, use it in a way that will take you forward. If you are going to be on social media in a way that actually adds value to your life. So you're an artist, whatever, spend time doing your art. And if it means that you will create a video where you filmed yourself drawing and you did it as a time lapse and you edited that video and you put it up there and it's a great video showing what an amazing artist you are, absolutely spend your time doing that. So that way when your father is talking about you one day and he's thousands of miles away and people say, what is that person's name? They will quickly go to the same Instagram that has everything. They will quickly go to that same Instagram and they will see all your beautiful videos of all your art and all your things. And somebody will say, I actually want to hire that person. Now you have made money from social media. Now everything that you've done is just a combination of all the things that you have spent all your time doing before in the past. Every single photo that I posted of myself, no matter what, would be geared towards creating a brand that can represent me in any way, shape, or form. Which means that if you go to my social media now, everything you see there is a general snapshot of who I am, both the good and the bad. A business person, a person who likes to jump out of planes, a person who is married, who has a family, a person who loves music, who loves funny videos and all of these things. You go there and that is me. Which means that if you want to hire me, if you want to work with me, if you want to pay me for something, you get to say this is a brand that resonates with me, and then they will pay me for that. So please listen to what I'm saying when I say you should absolutely use it in ways that will benefit you. All the other ways that most of you are using it now will not benefit you in any way, shape, or form. And that's the mindset that you need to change here today. After you're leaving here today, think to yourself, while I'm on Instagram, is what I'm doing helping me out? Because if what you're doing is only looking at funny videos the whole day, I guarantee you that's not going to help you out. You can laugh for a few minutes, but that's not going to help you out. But if what you're doing is you're looking at math equations, or you're looking at aerodynamics, or you found a page where they discuss philosophy, religion, whatever it is, find ways that anytime that you're on social media, you are benefiting yourself, so that when you do make a little bit of money, we can all go and invest it in whatever ways that professor can lead us, and we can also make those millions. Because now the climate is completely different from what it was 30 years ago. We would be lying to you if we said if you did things in the exact same way, you would also become, which is why he's saying he's finding ways to impart his knowledge that we can say, hey, this is amazing. We will also combine it with what is available to us right now, and then we will also make a lot of money. You don't have to be an actor to make money from. You don't have to make money from. I know doctors who are making a lot of money from social media. I know teachers. I know people who are chiropractors and everything. You can be a shoemaker and you make a lot of your money from social media. You can be you make outfits and you can make a lot of money from social media. You can be a teacher. Just make sure your social media represents you in a way that is authentic but is also positive. So whoever goes to Google your name and everything, what they see there, if you do it properly, will be something that will make them say, you know what, I want to hire that person. You know what, I want to give that, I actually want to pay that person to be who they are. So yes, use more of it. less Instagram and TikTok. TikTok and Instagram, I would say you should probably use way less of. The LinkedIn's and the rest of them, you should definitely try to do way more of. You can use Instagram if you want, if it's helping you to push your brand or it's helping you to make some level of positive impact, including TikTok. That's fine. I'm not saying limit yourself. Just make sure it benefits you. Make sure it is positive. And please remember, it will always be online. Even if you delete it, somebody else will have taken a video of it. Somebody else will have taken a snapshot. So if you are going to do it, let it be something that you did properly. And most of you can do some pretty amazing. I've spoken to a few of you, and you're all doing different. I've spoken to drummers, to dancers, to people who are doing all sorts of things. Create a brand for yourself. Market yourself very well. Put what you're good at out there. If what you're doing is making good outfits, make as many good outfits as you can. Take as many great photos of them as you can. Put them on your Instagram page, and then use that to market yourself. Don't post your fine photos. You might be you're pretty, you might be handsome. If you post every single day how handsome you are, I mean, unless a modeling agency is going to hire you, there's very little that is going to do for you. So if all your social media is doing is showing how beautiful you are, showing how much money you have, that's not going to help you out. But if you're using it to show your talents, I guarantee you, you will find ways that you will either make more money or you will put yourself in a position where the moment where somebody mentions your name, you will be able to represent yourself in a way that will move you forward and help you out a little bit in life. So that is my little contribution to whether you should use less or more. Less of the useless things, more of the amazing things.
Thank you so much. Please, a round of applause for our panelists. A lot of information download this afternoon. And as Mawuli said, we must be intentional when it comes to social media usage. And also, social media must bring us blessings. We must create value from social media. So, well taken, a good advice for us to take on. Don't just be there posting your handsome pictures. Is it bringing value? Are you creating value? It's very important. So please, let's take note. You can create value from social media. Social media can be a blessing than a curse. So at this point, we open the floor for questions. So please, I'll need 2 mics, one on my left, on my right. So please, if you have a question for any of my panelists, the time is due. Any question for Prof on what he presented during the plenary session and during the panel discussion, please, you can ask. Mommy and Daddy are also here, and Mama is also here with us. So any question on your mind, you are a youth, any question, any guidance you need, anything you want to have advice on. Maybe you started doing something and you want to know how to do it right to create value from social media. Any question for my guest? Okay, there's a question. So please, you mention your name, then which institution you represent. Your name and which institution or church you represent.
Okay, so my name is Duke Lawson. I represent Action Chapel, Shekinah Glory Chapel. Okay, so my question is, someone might be learning on social media, but they do it for a longer period. Does it then make it a disadvantage of social media?
Again, come again.
Okay, so someone might be learning on social media, but they do it for, a longer period. Does it become a disadvantage of social media?
So learning on social media for that long hours, Prof, and those medication, is it good?
If you are using it to do your maths, and it takes 2 hours before you finish doing your quadratic equations, that is not bad. Because if you didn't do that, you have to go to the book to do it. So, therefore, if you lose your home, the time you have to do your homework on the social media to help, that's okay. But all said and done, I don't think that you should be on the social media for inordinate time. That is, you cannot say that when you say goodbye to mom, you're going to sleep at 8 o'clock, you are on social media studying until midnight. When you know that you have to wake up at 5 a.m., it means you haven't used your time well. So even then, there should be a limit to which time you spend on social media.
And the mommy and daddy, anything too high. I'm learning on social media for 5 hours, 6 hours. Is that okay?
Firstly, if you are on social media for 5 hours learning, for me that's a red line, because our concentration span is such that we cannot be focused on one thing for 4 or 5 hours without having the temptation to see what is happening on another place, social media, and then that's your learning gone. You are now looking at pornography or whatever it is you're looking at, but you have convinced yourself that you are on the social media. You told mom and dad, I'm learning. Mom and dad, sometimes they believe the children when they say, actually, I'm doing my homework. No, you're not. He's lost in cyberspace. So you have to be very careful. 5 hours of social media, focusing on something, learning for 5 hours, is quite difficult. So that makes me think that you would not be able to do that on social media because the temptations are great. Does that answer your question?
Right. It's fine. Okay, that's fine. So please be careful that you don't get lost in the cyberspace, as Mommy said. Yes, it's good, learn, but ensure that you are not lost in the cyberspace. Okay, any more questions? Please ask your questions, your name, which institution you are represented from. Your name first.
My name is Jose,
Okay.
and I'm from Alpha Beta.
Okay.
I'm asking for my friend.
Asking for your friend. That's a very good person. Great. Ask for your friend.
He wants to know how he can come out of the pornography addiction.
How you can come up with.
He can come out of the pornography addiction.
Okay, so pornography addiction. So it means that a friend of his is addicted to pornography. Okay. And what help? And that's what I mentioned about. I asked the question about any support system that we have for people like this. So this is a classical example. So, Prof, somebody is currently addicted to social media in terms of pornography. How can the person get out of this particular quagmire?
I think that if you look later on at my presentation, I didn't have time to go. It's basically a detoxification process. It's the same as addiction to cocaine or anything. You really, first of all, in most cases, you need somebody else to help you. There has to be, it's going to be very difficult in terms of a withdrawal, and that's why you need the help of somebody you trust, because you have to discipline yourself not to go onto the social media for some time, totally. And that detoxification is a very important one. And not only young people. I knew a pastor, a Baptist pastor, who was addicted to pornography. And his marriage was totally on the rock as a result of that. But thank God he has been detoxified, become normal, and enjoying a great relationship with his family. Because instead of being with his wife and the children, he would sit in the room and then be looking at pornography. So it requires, you need a support system, somebody you trust, but it's a detoxification process. You have to more or less like fasting. Fast for about 2 weeks, no social media, and then you have to reprogram yourself to fill the time you spend on pornography on other social media which are beneficial, which Mawoli has said about learning. For example, I'm now going to social media to learn how to drum because I've gotten my brand new set of drums. And I was wondering, how am I going to learn it? And I just went to YouTube. And there are so many. I've just choose one whose style I like. And within months, you see me.
Oh! So you must go on social media fast, according to the Professor Emeritus Stephen. I think, Mommy, for this case, what can you do to help from where you sit?
Right. I was going to say that, firstly, you have to be determined to cure your addiction. That's the first one. You have to make that decision. This is not the thing I like or I want. When you do that, then you can start off with school counselors. They will also be able to direct you to other people who can help you to be detox from that. But we also have to there are times when we may have to bring the parents in. And I don't think that's a big problem if you are really intentional about changing your life in terms of addiction to pornography. But there are several ways that even within the school and the counseling we can help you. And it will be confidential. We're not going to tell anybody that, this is what is happening to you. But you have to start with yourself. I don't like who I am. I want to change. Then we can help you. And there are other people who can help you to get on.
Thank you so much. Mauli, anything to add on this pornography and addiction to pornography in the lives?
I think that's pretty much the only thing that you need to pay attention to. The first thing that she said is that you have to decide for yourself that, you know what, this is not me. Because it's a rabbit, any form of addiction is a rabbit hole. Before you realize you're all the way in there, you ask yourself, how did I get here? So the number one thing is you need to decide for yourself. Same with cocaine addiction, heroin, alcohol, whatever it is. Decide for yourself that, listen, this is not me. Because I guarantee you, endless pornography is never going to help you. There's no upside. There's only a downside. You get this amount of positivity and this amount of negativity. You might get a little bit of pleasure for a few minutes, but then you have insane downside. So to your friend, whoever he is, wherever he is, there's no real upside to it, if I'm being honest. So try to decide for yourself, and then once you do, there's more than enough people here who can guide you through whatever it is that you're going through. And it doesn't have to be pornography. Any addiction that, even if it's social media, pornography, anything that you feel like you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, you know what, this is not me. I don't want to be this person. That's all it is. You've solved the problem right there. The moment you tell yourself this is not me, you've solved the problem already. The next step is now just to go and get help, and then that's it. If you make a decision for yourself, you'll be helped out of it, and you'll be absolutely fine. Nothing is a permanent sentence.
Let's clap our panelists for such wisdom that is being shared this afternoon. Thanks so much. So, we need social media detox to purge ourselves from all the negative social media. So once in a while, to detox is very important. Just to purge yourself of the social media negative tendencies. Any more questions? I saw a hand. Yes, my brother. Okay, my sister, your name and where you are presented from.
My name is Santita, and Shekinah Glory Chapel. Yes, do unnecessary social media or spending more time on social media affect your mental health?
Okay, so she's speaking nice part of social media on our mental health. Yes. So let's take another question from my friend at the back there. They can take two and they will take the third one, then they can handle it. Okay.
Thank you very much. I'm
your
Abraham.
Name and where?
Abraham, representing myself.
That's fine. Representing yourself. That's a good one.
So I wanted to add there are apps like Screen Time that can help to manage time on social media. And also on social media, people are paid to portray certain ideas. That the speaker who spoke first talked about that your values may not be in sync with that, so you can also check against that.
Okay, I think it's more of additional submission. I have a hand here in front here. One hand was raised in front here. Yes. So after we'll get to my able panelists to address the questions. Okay, your name?
My name is Divine. I represent Alpha Beta.
Great.
So I wanted to ask, as teenagers, how do we stop following the crowd? Because we normally care about how and what people are going to say to us. So how do we distance ourselves from them?
Okay, so how do we distance ourselves from the crowd? Then another question is, social media needs to be part on our mental health. So any one of you could take the question. So Rev can start.
Okay.
Okay, let's take another question.
The last one was here. Then
Okay, so we'll do the last one, then we'll call on Ima to continue the rest of the program. Okay.
And I'm a student of ATU.
Okay.
I have a friend who is into boys.
See to boys.
Yeah, he's a boy and he's into boys.
I hear.
I don't know how to help him out. He's actually one person who likes godly things. Like he's also into like Christian life thing, and he's trying to help himself out of it, but he's not able. So
these are good questions. So please, I hope this also another question that is very so that's it. Yes, and the person also a Christian, somebody who loves the things of God, very godly. But is caught up in this whole web called LGBTQ plus and what have you. Okay, so at this point, Ref, you can go with me.
I wanted to first deal with the mental health issue. As with anything that is addictive, okay, it can affect your mental health. It's an addiction, and if you don't deal with that addiction, you find yourself always doing that thing to the detriment of other things that you need to do. So again, this may come to the point of this detoxification. It's not just detoxifying the body,
Yes.
but detoxifying your mind as well. The Bible tells that let this mind be in you, let your mind be on Christ. But if you are thinking about just, certain things, it will definitely affect your mental health. So again, it comes to detoxifying and disciplining yourself. It's all about discipline. But then again, you need help. You can't, it's not everything that you can deal with yourself. It's not everything. Some things you can deal with yourself, but other things you may need the help of other people that are better versed in what you are going through. That's what Prof shared earlier about having maybe an older person or a more experienced person than you to take you through some of these things.
Okay, moving to what then, Prof.
And concerning mental health, the degree to which it is affecting your mental health may be determined by where you go on social media, what you are doing on social media. Because I think all of you have got to the stage now where you know what is right from what is wrong. And if you spend a lot of your time on social media doing things that you know are wrong, then you have this guilt issue as well. And all these things can contribute to your mental health. The constant battle between wrong and right, doing what is good and godly and doing what you know is wrong. And that could include so many things. It could be cyberbullying, it could be posting horrible pictures of your friends, and all kinds of things can affect your mental health. So be careful where you go on social media, and be careful how much time you spend on it at the expense of other things. But again, you will need help.
Prof. Okay, Pauli, then Prof comes in.
Let the youth on my left.
I think with the mental health, anything that you consume will affect your mental health in some way. Now, if it's only for a brief period, then it's not long lasting. But like she said, if it's continued use, then it has, I wouldn't say permanent effect, but it has long lasting effects on your mental health. As human beings, everything that we connect our energies with, because that's who we are. We are big bundles of energy. We're big bundles of energy that mix as we go along. Sometimes positively, sometimes you notice your energy doesn't match with somebody else's because that's not the vibration on which you guys are operating. So if you are operating with this level of energy, you're a positive person, you believe that you have good things in your life and you believe this level of positivity, you have to be careful not to invite bad energies into your life. Don't invite negative energies into your life. Negative energy might be envy and jealousy, which means that if you find yourself looking at other people, oh my God, this person's father has that car, this person has a great designer, this person is going on vacations to Spain and I'm not, this person has this person has that. The moment you start doing that, you're inviting energy and envy into your life. That's bad energy. So try to move away from that. The moment you look for things that aren't going to positively impact you, just move away from it. And I guarantee you'll have some sort of positive impact on your mental health. When it comes to mental health, I always have to say just seek help, because we all believe that we have the answers. We all believe that we can Google how to something, and then you have a list, or you read one book. It's not as simple as reading one book. It's not as simple as asking one question. That's the beginning. So yes, everything that we can say here is great and everything, but the most important thing is please seek help. especially if you're within an institution that does offer help, like a school like this one and everything, we're usually afraid to share our weaknesses because we feel like maybe the teacher will tell somebody or somebody will know and everything. But please take it from me when I say the whole point of these kinds of things is to show you, and the reason we're having these discussions on talking about things that we don't talk about all the time, is to show you that we're actually here for you. We actually want you to do well. Uncle Sammy and Auntie Florence, Professor Dyer here, everybody actually wants you to do well. We don't want you to end up in situations that we know are avoidable. So when we say that come to us for help, not me per se, but when they say go to the school counselors and everything, and I know a lot of you might be like, you look away and everything. They are there to help you. Nobody here wants you to fail. Nobody here wants anything bad for you. We're literally here for the sole purpose of thinking we actually want amazing things for everybody sitting over here. So if you have a problem, please never be ashamed to say, listen, this is what I'm facing. I need help. No matter what your problem is, find somebody that is a safe space and say, listen, I need help. And it's much better than hiding in your corner and thinking to yourself, oh, I'll go to Google or I'll read one book. Get some help. We're always here for you. The school will always be here for you. The church will always be here for you. So even if you feel like at home you can't find it, come to the church, come to the school, and your parents will be involved at whatever point that is deemed necessary. Please seek help whenever you can.
Seek help. Seek help. And help is available. Prof,
First of all, the human mind is such that as a man, the Old Testament, King James says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. There's always the need to reprogram your mind so that your mind is transformed. That is Romans 12:2. But especially Philippians 4:8. Whatever is true, whatever is of good repute, you have to reprogram your mind. It's very, very important. I'm saying this not in place in lieu of what has been said, as a complement of what is being said. Your friend who has a problem with being gay, the fact that he has talked to you, encourage him that he is on the right path. Because oftentimes they will not talk to you, to people. The second is the fact that you may have to engage in certain positive activities like sports and definitely going to church. They oftentimes the gay people get used away from other social activities to be with them. Whilst if you are with other people in church and at sports activities, it helps. But definitely you may depend upon the degree that they have sunk. They will need a counselor, a Christian advisor in that regard. This young man said, I don't remember. Yes. One of the things that is quite unfortunate about young people is peer pressure. Being like other people. The reality is that for better or for worse, those who make it to the top are those who stand out and not follow the crowd. And therefore, the person must know that honestly, most of the things that peer pressure leads you to do is to let you conform and become an average. The second thing one must do is again pursuing something which you have identified is good for you. For example, when I didn't go to secondary school, I went to 4 years in training college. That time it was pre-secondary program. Those of us who decided that we will immerse ourselves in correspondence course are probably among them. I am at the bottom. All the rest are even higher, richer and other things. So you must just make sure that you are involved in something which you know, whether it means on the social media, which is very good for you, and be able to convince yourself that this is what I want to do. Actually, if you are going to be a leader, apart from everything else, you cannot be like anybody else. A leader, sorry for my going a bit, I'm a professor in leadership, but let me just say one thing and reduce it. You have to be a high self-monitor. The high self-monitors are people who are in a crowd like a dancing floor, but they can every now and then get out of the floor, stand on the balcony, and see what is going on. If you are not able to distinguish yourself at certain times from your peers, you will never be great and you will never become a leader. So, unfortunately, peer pressure wants to make you average, but the average is not good enough for you, especially if you're a Christian.
Thank you so much. The last question. I got a signal. I have a last question. Okay, so let's do this. The good thing is that I'm going to take this set of questions, then we are done. We'll have our panelists be with us after closing for you to have the one-on-one. So I'll take the 4 questions. I've seen 4 hands raised. Mama, Lady Pastor Genevieve, my boy, Mr. Man, and Fred, then we are done. Afterwards, they'll be here. You can engage them one-on-one. The good thing is that help is available. So please, those of you who ask the questions about my friend here, my brother here, I'm sure Reverend, I want to talk to you more to get deeper to know who they are. We want to help them. We want to help them. It's very important. That's why we are in ministry. Okay, so my boy, Papa Peter. Okay.
So like, what do you do? What do you do right about that? And also, if you are someone trying to juggle 3 things at the same time, I am trying to juggle my work, which is the making of the videos, school and more together. How do you deal with it? Like a typical day, you have to you have a test the next day, you have football practice. After school, you go like a long day of school, you are packed and you are tired. What do you do?
Good question. And maybe Pastor Genevieve, let's take your. So please take note. I'm sure this one, Mauli will handle this first question for us.
Yes, please. My name is Lady Pastor Genevieve from Shekinah Glory Chapel. My question has to do with parenting. We have heard from the panelists that social media is becoming, let's say, another way of parenting these days. That parents who choose to give their babies the iPads just to keep them calm. And it's going on, and research has shown that these children are becoming retarded in their academic works. And let's say in the next 10, 15 years, what will be their outcome? What creative way can we use now as parents who have younger children to bring up the children such that they don't become liability to societies tomorrow? And secondly, too, I want to ask the panelists that what way can we use to because I've also heard that because of the bending and the stretching, it's affecting the backbone of many people. Many people are growing and they are having spondylosis and other, skeletal problems because of the bending and the reading, and also eye problems. So what can we do to, curtail these things so that social media is good, but some of these negative aspects, what can we do to help society? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lady Pastor. My big brother at the back, then I take our youth pastor. He will sum up the questions. Then we can release our panelists. Then I'll hand over to him to continue. Okay, sir, over to you. Your name and where you are coming from. Stop saying. Okay. Thank you.
Romans 7:4, 24 and 25 to support this. So the conclusion will be from the addiction is that, like Paul will say, "O wretched man that I am, who will deliver me from this body of death?" So the addiction takes you into a realm when you realize one day that you are a wretched man and you don't know what to do. But the good news is that 25 that says, "I thank God through Jesus Christ our Lord. So then, with the mind, myself serve the law of God, but with the flesh, the law of sin." So I'm making my comments from the point of view of a teacher. And my observation has been that learners today cannot sit with a book for 30 minutes. And it is because they are so used to computers and social media. When they put it away, it becomes difficult to stay with a book. But at my age, where I am not too old and not too young, I can tell you that the use of books have more advantages over the use of computers. And one example I can give you is that if you're reading a book and you want to make a comment, or you see something that you think you need to note it down, you can actually do so in the book or underline it or something like that, which is kept in the head. It is far better than doing your underlining and all that in a computer. And learners sometimes come to class with their computers and like, "Are you not writing?" So say, "I'm typing on my computer." They come the next time and the same thing you ask them, they are not able to get it back to you. So I want to encourage young people today that, I beg you, books are not old school. Books are still very, very important today, even though we have the social media and the computers and all that. Then the other thing I want to say is that in this regard, if I am wrong, you correct me. Most people use social media when they are bored. They use it as a way of curing boredom. And I think that is the most dangerous use of social media. Because in trying to cure your boredom with social media, you end up straying into where you actually didn't want to go. Because I was telling my student last time that if you sit in the public transport, you notice that most of the time people sit in the car, the first thing they do is that they take their phones and they begin to scroll, and could tell that they don't really know what they have in mind specifically that they want to look at, but they are still on the phone. So maybe try TikTok. If it doesn't excite, then maybe go to Facebook. If it is not so exciting, and in your bid to try to get something exciting, you land into somewhere you don't want to be. And so using social media as a means of curing boredom, I think is very dangerous. And when learners are in school, they don't have access to social media. What they do is that they begin to wander about because they are so used to social media. But here is the case, I don't have access to it. So it becomes difficult staying with the book. So my question would be that, what can we suggest as some of the best means of curing boredom? And the last thing is that if we take away social media and we don't have anything else to replace it, how will our lives be if we don't have social media?
Thank you so much, sir. So the last question, the last but the least, from our youth pastor, Pastor Frederick. Please let me snap you.
All right, thank you very much.
Right now.
Thank you very much. A young wife whispered into my ears that I'm convinced beyond reasonable doubt that I'm the better half of my husband. But then the phone and social media is the best half of my husband. So please, what antidote would you prescribe for the relationship that is created between young couples for the excessive use of the social media? And my next question, please. The beauty, the community, the sense of community of the Ghanaian, the sense of community of the African. Don't you think that social media is reducing the originality of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So at this point, time is not our friend. What I will do, panelists, is that you will attempt to answer the question shortly in the next, looking at 3 minutes. Then once we are done, as I said, after the program, we'll be around for some number of minutes, just to chat with us, engage one-on-one, so that we can get deeper into the conversation. So it's not done. If you are done with the session, we'll be here. So, Prof, any of the questions you want to address?
Let me take the parenting one. It's so easy for the parents to rely on the iPad, but it is the most dangerous thing that can be done. I think that parents must learn to play with their children. The other day, for example, it was all over social media when I was with Albert Okran teaching children to read, and then sitting on the carpet and I loved it with 2 children I had invited. And we had a ball of our life. I think that parents must, despite the fact that they have to now go for money and everything else, if you are a real parent for your children, you must learn how to play with them and not use the iPad as a substitute. The second, and this is not so much of self-promotion, we are going to launch an NGO called Papa and Nana series. We, my wife and I, have devised a means which we use for our children, but of course, once our children grow up and stop parenting, you forget how you parented your children till your grandchildren come. And my grandchildren, the first one came at 5 years. Fortunately, he had good parents. They were reading to her and always going after them. I said, no, you don't have to be always reading to your 5-year-old. Within 2 months, we applied our method, and the 5-year-old was literate. And getting the children to be literate very early, 5 and 6 years, is so important. They get hooked to books. And that's what the NGO we are going to promote. And I'll be coming to Alpha Beta with the books very soon. Because I've found that when you get children literate at the age of 5, latest by 6, not only under our method, my children actually read 3 times faster than me. And all my children are scientists, but they are able to edit and do things better than the average graduate teacher because of how much they have read. So that's quite an important thing. The third, which has come, is that one, I learned it from my last born. You must restrict the time when they are younger on the iPad. And fortunately, my grandchildren, that's his children, are now only 3 years and 5-year-old. They will come from school, they are playing with their toys and that things. And sometimes they will come and ask, is it 5 o'clock? In other words, it's in them. So at the age of 5 and 3, they know that iPad, and of course the iPad is not of course going to other things, which also they learn the songs and the tunes because it's good for them. So it requires, I think that if you have to do anything by default, including parenting, the result will be disastrous. You have to be intentional about it. So I wanted to pick the parenting unless so that others, when they are finished, there's other ones who want me to pick up.
Yeah, anyone.
What I'm saying is that I've taken the parenting ones.
As for what the marriage couple one is very, even as way back as 35 years when I was working with the Commonwealth Secretariat in London, only television was, that television, color television at the camp, was renewing marriages. And there was a couple, the man comes home and then he sees that this, the whole evening, he is watching television. The wife was, And I think that, again, they need counseling, and the man must learn to be detoxified about that.
they must create intentionally other activities they can do together, which is going to be enjoyable, because if he's going to do that one, they are on their way to divorce court, because the wife is not going to be sitting there to have the phone as the husband's best friend. So those people need to really an advice of some marriage counselors who have the knowledge and advice, especially the men, as to the women can be addicted, but most of the time because they have to take care of the children, cooking and other things. But most men who think that yes, marriage means that you have a house and a car and that's enough, the rest the woman herself needs to be advised and helped to overcome that. Of course, what the teacher has said is something. I think that when people really are hooked on books, good books, then they would see that they are getting something better. And again, probably we, the educationists, must also start certain time in which they really read and are examined and asked on it so that they get used to reading.
Thank you so much. Mauli, the question on how to deal with boredom, and also he's on one person is doing three things at the same time, and how does he manage himself as a young guy? Sports, is into sport. He does video for marketing purposes and gets some money from it, and schooling as well.
Where's the guy who asked that question? Where are you? Stand up for a second. So you're doing three things right now, yes? And he mentioned how do we do it all, how many hours in the day, how many this and that. There's only one question that every single one of us, we have to ask ourselves at every single point. Do you want to be great? How many people here want to be great? Because you don't have to be. It's not a requirement of life that you have to be great. You truly don't. You can be very average if you choose to be. Nobody is forcing you. Like he said, if you can follow the crowd all you want, and you will always be average. More than 50% of human beings, most of us are fairly stupid. That's just a fact.
90.
I would say, but more than 50. That's just the general truth. More than 50%, more than 80% of us on the internet is either lies, exaggerations, or just straight up nonsense. Which means that if you always follow the crowd, you will more likely than not be with stupid people. In order to be great, you have to be able to think for yourself, and you have to stand. You don't have to stand alone, but you have to at least try to find other great people to stand with, or people with the same mindset. The reason I say this is because you're making a point, you're saying, how do we do this and that? That's not up to me to answer, that's up to you. Do you want to be great or not? Do you want to be great or not? It's not up to me to tell you how to use your time and this and that. If you want to be great, if you are serious about being great in whatever it is that you are doing, you will find a way to do it. The 24 hours, that's never going to change. So it's not about how do we create more hours in the day, it's about how do you do things better. You want to be a video person, you want to do this, you want to play ball, that's up to you. Nobody forced you to do all of those things. You could have picked one thing to do. You're choosing to do three things. His kids chose to do double majors, they chose to do so many things, which meant that when it's time to study, nobody asked you to pick those things. You will make the time to study because you're the one that chose to be great. And if you are serious about being great, nobody will ever have to tell you, hey, go and study, hey, go and make time to do this, hey, go and make time to do that. That's not up to us, that's up to you. You chose to be great. Or you can also choose to be perfectly average and nobody can beat you. There's nothing wrong with that. So I ask each of you here, as you're here today, you want to be great or you don't? You don't want to be great, that's absolutely fine. Spend all your time on social media, like as many photos as you want, post as many TikTok dances as you want. None of us here can ever stop you. It is your life. God gave it to you specifically to live as you see fit. Your parents and everything, we will always tell you what we think is right. If you choose not to listen, that's up to you. But if you want to be great, you want to have an impact on life, you want to be able to say, I did something with my life, you have to give up certain things. You cannot be great and be on social media all the time. You can't have both things. That's not the way life works, unfortunately. You can't be great and still be able to say you want to be addicted to porn and do this and that. That's not how life works. If you want to be great, there's things that you have to do. If you choose that greatness is not my portion, that's also up to you. I would hope that there's nobody here who would say I don't want to be great. When I said I want to be great, a lot of you raised your hands. So please ask yourselves that, and in whatever it is that you're going to do, Please just decide. If I am serious about being great, I will have no excuses. I will be as hardworking and as courageous and as resilient as I can. You mentioned the fact that what happens when you get a lot of no's and everything. That when they speak to you, he's the oldest, they're followed by me. Each of us will be able to tell you, you will fail, what, 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times? I don't know what the number is. But you will fail constantly in life. There's no way to avoid it. One of the most important pieces of advice my father gave me was, you have to learn to deal with disappointments. There's no way that you're not going to fail. I'm so sorry to tell you. You will get a lot of no's, a lot of, I'm sorry, this is not going to work out for me, a lot of rejections, a lot of things that were so amazing and then just didn't work out. But if you can't from this age decide that, one, it is very normal to fail. There's nothing wrong with it. As long as you decide, this failure means nothing. You got to know somebody told you no, they don't want to hire you and everything. That's okay. That's fine. I'll try again, and I'll try again, and I'll try again.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, Mawuli. Let's clap and then panelists. So to sum it up, Reverend, as the host, will give us the final comments or remarks. Then I'll release my panelists, and I've enjoyed myself. I wish would have stayed on till tomorrow morning. All right, your last words, then to run out the panel discussion.
Tomorrow morning. So, have you learned anything today?
Yes.
Are you happy you came?
Yes.
Will you come again?
Yes.
Excellent. So, we want to thank God for today. We thank God for the lives of Professor and Mauli. Let's give them a round of applause.
A round of applause for them.
For taking time off their busy schedules to come and be with us today. This Independence Day. I know our actor and influencer and everything else, I know he had stuff to do today. It's Independence Day. And he made a comment to me that he was trying to get some of his people to come. And they said, oh no, today is the beginning of the weekend. I said, today is Wednesday. He said,